Hello everybody, it's Sarah and I finally have my Lady Midnight review for you right now. It's been long overdue. So I'll have a spoiler-free review at the beginning of this video and I'll tell you when I get into the more spoilery stuff. For those of you who don't know, Lady Midnight is the newest book by Cassandra Clare. It's the first book in the Dark Artifices series, which is the third series in the Shadowhunters universe. The book is set in Los Angeles and follows Emma Carstairs, a character who was introduced in the last book of the Mortal Instruments series, as she tries to unravel the mystery around some murders that are happening in LA. Those murders seem to be of the same kind as the one of her parents, so she's very interested, and at the same time she has to deal with love and romance and fairies. I really enjoyed this book. I would not recommend you read this if you have not read any other Shadowhunters novels. I also recommend you read the Tales of Shadowhunter Academy before you read Lady Midnight, because some of the things that happen in those short stories do tie in with what happens in Lady Midnight. It's still explained in Lady Midnight, but you just get more of a background if you read those short stories first. As I said, I really enjoyed this book. I think this trilogy overall has the potential to dethrone the Infernal Devices as my favorite series by Cassandra Clare, although I did not like Lady Midnight quite as much as Clockwork Princess. Overall, this book was much slower to build up than any of Cassandra Clare's other books, which I personally really enjoyed. Of course, there was the element of it being the first book in a new series, so all the characters and the settings had to be introduced, but overall there was also just a lot more daily life in this book than in the other books. I really enjoyed the aspect of diversity in this book. We have Ty, who is autistic. We have Drew, who loves horror movies and is a little bit, I don't want to say chubby because I don't think she's actually chubby, but she surely struggles with her body image. We have a bisexual character. We have a character who acts gay but actually isn't. So there really is a lot of diversity in this book. I have to say I was not really a fan of Emma Carstairs. She reminded me a lot of Chase. She's very driven. But for me personally, I just gave up liking the main character in a YA paranormal series, because that rarely happens to me. I mean, I like her, of course, but I love the other characters and I just like her. Aside from Emma, I really think that the characters are a lot more developed in this book than in the rest of Cassandra Clare's series. They are less stereotypical, which I really enjoyed, and I just love Julian. Julian is the most amazing person that I have ever read about. So I already think that that is it for the spoiler-free part. I would really recommend you pick this up. Also, for me, I don't think that Cassandra Clare can do that much wrong. I have read her books for 7 years now. I always love them, so there's always a big element of nostalgia to these books for me, which gloss over a lot of the faults that they may have. But honestly, I didn't notice any. So that is it for the part where those of you who have not read the books can listen. I will now go into the spoilers. So if you have not read the book, please go and do so and then come back afterwards. Okay, so first of all, I just love Julian. I think he's such a darling. He clearly dethroned Jem as my favorite Cassandra Clare fictional boyfriend. So Will is on a sad 3rd place. He's still on a pedestal, but let's see how long he stays there. Then I thought it was great that Malcolm was the evil guy. I just love that. I was sitting in my bed and I was going, oh my god, And then 2 sentences later, Emma, or I don't know who, says, "Oh, it's Malcolm." And I was like, damn it! I thought I'd come behind the murders a little bit earlier. But I didn't. I have to say, after Julian, my favorite character is probably Mark. I love him so much. It's so sad what he had to endure. And now he's back and he's trying his best. And I just also really enjoyed the jealousy of Julian when Mark comes back, because he sees that Mark can be a brother. Mark, who should have been the authority figure hadn't he been in Fairy, can now be a brother, and he who should have been able to be the beloved brother had to be the parent. And I just really love this dilemma. I think actually my favorite scene in the whole book was the scene when Julian and Emma came home from, I don't know exactly where they were, because it's been like 5 weeks since I read the book, and Mark is in the kitchen with everyone and Julian gets really angry, because I thought that just showed so much under how much pressure Julian is, and it just broke my heart, really. My least favorite scene was probably the sex scene on the beach. I read it and I was like, what? Did they just like have a really hot makeout session right now? Or did they actually have sex? And so I read the scene again and I was like, no, that's only a makeout session, right? And then I read on and I noticed that they actually did have sex. And I was like, what? But maybe I'm just too clueless. I mean, I'm really clueless, honestly. In high school, in my class, couples would already have split up until I noticed that they were ever together. I really want to know more about Diana. I think she is a really interesting character. I want to know why she can't take over the Institute, what her problem is, and everything. So I hope that this is going to be explored a bit more in the next book. I think what I enjoyed probably the most in this book was the relationship between Livy and Ty. I love Livy, she is so amazing. So I also really want to see more of that in the next book. I have to say, I actually found the romance between Emma and Julian a bit unbelievable. I know that a lot of the romance already happened before Lady Midnight, but for me, I just can't see what Julian finds in Emma, but maybe that's just me because I don't really like Emma. The ending was really funny. I loved the ending. It's just, Julian is so cold-blooded, honestly. He just throws like Enzo Nightshade, I think his name was, under the knife, just like that, and there's just, that's it. I was just always a really happy fangirl when anyone from the earlier series appeared. I read the first page, and on the Shadow Market when Jem and Tessa walked by, I was just like, oh my god, the word just Jem and Tessa, and I was fangirling all over the place. I loved the additional chapter short story at the end of Simon's and Izzy's engagement party. They are just great. I think I like Claire and Chase a lot more now than in the actual books. Also, I almost forgot, like the scene at the end with Mark and Emma, it's just, oh my god, poor Julian. But he can do so much better than Emma anyway, so again, not poor Julian, but oh my god, it's just, I kinda ship Mark and Emma, to be honest. I don't like Kieran. He is annoying as hell and stupid, and I hate him. That is actually all that I have to say about this book. As I said, it's been 5 weeks, so I can't really remember certain scenes that I loved. But tell me what you loved about this book, tell me what you didn't like about this book. Are you as excited for the next one as much as I am? And I hope I'll see you soon. Kiss, kiss!